All right, we are live. I don't know why that was glitching on my end, so hopefully we're live. I think somebody's watching. Yeah, we're live. Cool. Just had to
Oh,
double check. But what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another stream. As you can see, I'm joined by my buddies Q Reviews and Rashad G Reviews, and we're just gonna kind of sit here, do what we do, just kind of shoot the shit and talk about the first season of Loki, the latest MCU show to air on Disney Plus, and a show that I think we have a lot to talk about. Definitely a lot of huge implications for the future of the MCU. But as the title suggests, as the thumbnail suggests, and as I just suggested, we will be getting straight into spoilers. So if you have not watched Loki yet, if you are not caught up, please do go ahead and catch up on the show before you watch this. And once you do, come back and check out our thoughts. But yeah, let's get into this. Before we get too deep into each episode and our thoughts overall on those individual episodes, Q, we'll start with you. What are your thoughts on the show? As it's now wrapped up in terms of season one.
season one of Loki, man. Man, I really loved the first and second episode. I was like, oh, especially that second episode, I was all in. I got a little confused with the later episodes, but this season finale, all I gotta say is Jonathan Majors, man, as Kang, man. They introduced I guess we're going into spoilers, right? It's cool, right?
Yeah, for sure. Let's do it.
Because this is a huge spoiler. Like, Kang, whatever his name is, they introduced a major villain at the end of the show, and they kept us hanging. They kept it loose, but that last episode, they were in like only one scene, really, like, one setting, but it really drew me in, and I was fucking into it. Overall, though. I'm confused. I might be stupid or something, but I was confused on the variants and where it was going, and like it was hard to follow it sometimes. But overall, I think I like Loki. Honestly. I think I like Loki, but I don't know. It's something I have to watch again. It's something I have to watch one more time to fully digest what this show was actually bringing me.
Gotcha. Yeah, I'll go ahead and say for me, I loved it. And I think I've been saying it in some of my spoiler videos that I was doing weekly as the show was airing. I think this is my favorite overall of the MCU shows. Now, what I will say before we get into all the episodes and stuff is that I think the final episode for me was not as strong of a finale as WandaVision or Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And that's just for me. I think that the finale has huge implications for the future of the MCU, but was not as epic of a finale as I personally maybe was hoping it would be. But I still liked it. We'll get into that in specifics. But overall, I loved the show, and I think it was my favorite of the three that we've gotten so far. What about you, Rashad? Where's this one sitting for you?
You know what? I'm kind of on the same boat as Q. Like, I have a weird relationship with this show. I'm not 100% in love with it, but at the same time, I can't stop watching it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm really intrigued because I think this is the most un-Marvel thing that they've done, like as far as I can remember, And to what you were saying about how the finale, how you was like, man, I'm torn between this. That's because with WandaVision and Falcon the Winter Soldier, they both had MCU type endings. There's always an epic battle. There's always a setup for the next, movie, the next season or whatever. And this last episode of Loki kind of did that, but it didn't because there was no big battle. There was no epic big battle at the end that you would expect from an MCU property. You know what I mean? So I can appreciate that, but like I said, it's weird for me because like the first episode I fell asleep on. I'm gonna keep it a buck. The first episode, I'm in my recliner. I don't know if it's because I'm an old man, but within 10 minutes, I'm doing this shit right here.
I'm over you, son.
I had to rewatch it a couple of times, man. But yeah, I can't stop watching the show, man. And like you said, I gotta watch it again because it was just so much to digest. Like that steak is still sitting there in my stomach, though it was good going down. But I'm like, damn, it has to digest some. You know what I mean? But overall, yeah, I thought it was good, man. Compared to the other two, I still think Falcon and the Winter Soldier is my personal favorite. You know what I mean? But I respect what Loki did as far as going the opposite of what Marvel usually does, and I respect it for that.
For sure, yeah. I would have to say for me one, and it's something that's kind of like a hot take. because I know Q, we talked about it. You weren't a huge fan of the finale overall of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but like that episode for me was like that was like the greatest of the finales thus far for me, simply because it did a really great job of setting up for the future of the MCU and where these characters are going to go and all that kind of stuff, while also like having that big fun action, that reveal of Sam Wilson in the costume, all that really works for me. And yeah, I guess similarly, I guess for like Loki, for me, I just feel like the show didn't end with any sort of finality for this story that we've been following. And you know, that's what it's supposed to do. It's the only one that's had a cliffhanger ending that then has a post-credit scene that literally says season 2 is coming. None of the other shows have done that. WandaVision is not supposed to be getting a season 2. We know Falcon and the Winter Soldier will be getting a Captain America and the Winter Soldier follow-up. But yeah, I think that for this one, it just left it didn't give me conclusion on the story we've been following for the 5 episodes prior enough. Before we get into the individual episodes, does anybody have anything else they want to add on really quickly?
Yeah, I want to add on to that. Like with your Falcon and the Winter Soldier was a sense of finale. You know what I'm saying? And it was almost a little too. For me, it was a little bit like paint by numbers. Like I almost expected it. Like I didn't expect all the way Kang, even though the internet was talking about it. And then when I seen him, I was just excited. It was like, holy crap, we got a super villain right now here in the MCU introduced on Disney Plus. Like Jonathan Majors is a phenomenal actor. You know what I'm saying? He is phenomenal. And then when I seen him, you know what I'm saying? I was watching on my computer so I could do this shit. I wish I would have watched it on my main TV, but when I seen him, I could not keep my eyes off of him. I haven't seen that in a long time from a villain from the MCU that was live action since like the Joker. I was like, this dude is interesting. And it seemed like the whole setup for Loki was building up to this. It was like, and that's what it basically was. The timekeepers and all that crap. You know what I'm saying? It was basically building up to this villain here, and you're probably about to see him in 2 or 3 movies, I think, because he's such a talent, and they're not going to just waste him in like Ant-Man movie. I think you're probably going to see him in Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness, and probably another movie, probably Spider-Man, I'm guessing. But I was just intrigued by his character. You know, I understand that we have like not a sense of digestion in this last episode. Like it doesn't leave us with a lot, but it leaves us like Empire Strike Back. Like we have to see what's next. You know, we have to see what's next. Loki season 2 is coming. Ant-Man is coming in 2023, and who knows what happens in between. So I was excited about that finale. So I kind of like this finale. I don't know why. Maybe it's Jonathan Majors. Maybe I'm holding a bias, but like I just really like that character, like how they just couldn't touch him and he didn't understand. Like all this stuff kind of made sense to me, even though I didn't understand what was going on in previous episodes. When he came, it kind of like tied strings together for the story for me a little bit, but I still have questions, tons of questions.
For sure. And I think we all have questions, right? Like I think like ultimately that's what they left you with. They left you with this sense of like, I like looked over at my fiance. I'm like, shit, is that really it? Like I instantly started looking to see if maybe I had misread that this was the season finale. I go, oh, there's another episode. There's a 7th episode or something. You know, like maybe I just misread it and I've been like deceiving myself. But yeah, even on on Disney Plus and everybody on Twitter, everywhere, it just says, you know, the finale. And I was pretty torn on how I felt overall. Like I loved the big implications for the MCU. But yeah, Jonathan Majors was great in this episode. I thought he was phenomenal, and I loved that presence that he had on screen. He was very captivating. I was engaged by everything that happened. I just felt like, wow. By the time it ended, I was like, that was a lot of expository dialogue for about an hour. That just really was like, here, for anyone who does not understand what a multiverse is, here's a full-blown explanation of every single little element as we move into the next era of these movies. That's just going to have a shit ton of the multiverse stuff. So yeah, we're going to jump into the first episode. But Rashad, do you have anything you want to add?
Yeah, well, look here. Just think back in 1980, people were pissed off at Empire Strikes Back. I mean, now it's the beloved classic that is, but back then, back in the day, people were pissed off at that movie. They was like, "What the fuck? That's all, after 3 years. That's all y'all give us." So yeah, man. I think this season will be more appreciated after the next season. Like, I think once you can sit down and binge, however long they go with the show, I think this season will be appreciated more. But that's one of the gripes I had too, was the cliff. Every episode was a cliffhanger. It was a cliffhanger followed by a cliffhanger, followed by a cliffhanger, and then by episode 6, similar to when I watched the last episode of The Sopranos, I'm looking like, how much time is left? Fuck, we only got 10 minutes left, man. Like, by the 10-minute mark, I'm like, okay, there's so many unanswered questions here. Even though there was a lot of exposition, I'm like, I'm not, damn, 6 minutes? Come on, I know we have 10 minutes of credits. Yeah, I know we got 10 minutes of credits, man. Come on. And by the end, like you, Prez, I was like, fuck it. Yeah, season 2, let's go.
There's like we're about to give it to you, but we're not quite going to give it to you just yet. We ain't gonna give you this full villain that you want to see. Oh, of course, I wanted to see Kang do his thing. Like, let's bring it on. Let's bring it on with all the Lokis. But I think he was too far advanced for that, though. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, that was the nice one. That was the nice one. That was the nice variant of Krang.
Yeah, well, that's the scary thing, because as well as he played that part, it was scary because, okay, we haven't seen the worst of this shit. Like, he warned us, there are variants out there that's a lot worse than me. So I'm letting you know that right now, and I can't wait to see what he brings to Kang the Conqueror. One of the illest villains in the MCU now.
Yeah, that ultimatum was so deep. That ultimatum was so deep. Like, yo, I can let y'all just run this, or you know what I'm saying, I don't know what's gonna happen, or you can kill me now, but if you do, it's gonna be 1,000 of me, and y'all gotta work it out for yourself. The free will thing. So free will did have a stake right there, because that was free will right there. What the other Loki did, the girl Loki, as we're killing him, that was like he knew it was gonna go either one or two ways. That's the only way it can be. You know what I'm saying? I thought that was deep. Yeah. So it's a setup. I know you. I feel at pain on that. Like, yo, I wanted to see it too. I wanted to see it too, but I think it sets up something fucking much more. Sweet.
I mean, it's setting us up for a beautiful thing, and ultimately that's why I'm torn, because I love what they did. Like, the whole episode, I loved it as I was watching it, but by the time it was over as a finale, I was just like, I don't know. And I see real quick, there's people watching, people are leaving comments. Thank you, everybody who's watching. I'll try to look over and get those in here and there. One of the comments I wanted to respond to really quickly, Rejected Heroes Media, Darnell, thanks for stopping by, man. He says, Anthony,
he actually loved the finale. He
loved the finale for sure. I should have had you on here tonight, but next time. But he says, Anthony, don't think of this as a finale, because this is just another part of the bigger multiverse saga. Now, I do agree with you, we were talking about it a little bit before you hopped in here, Darnell. My only thing would be, like I was saying before, and we're going to hop into all the episodes now, is just, again, like, for me, I think with WandaVision and Falcon and the Winter Soldier, they left things open-ended, as Marvel usually does, pushing things forward for the overall narrative and the overall universe. We know that Wanda is going to be this big force. She's finally Scarlet Witch. They're probably going to make her the villain, and maybe Doctor Strange into the Multiverse of Madness. We don't know yet, but, they're probably going to start dipping their toes into more of her character's roots. But again, those shows had finality for the story set up from the episodes that led up to that final episode, while still leaving things open. And I just don't think Loki did that as well. But again, I think Loki is a little bit more hinged on the idea of, like, season 2 is coming versus, like, with Falcon and the Winter Soldier, it's like season 2 is coming eventually. And with WandaVision, it's like there is no season 2. So those shows kind of needed a little bit more finality, I guess, compared to Loki. But yeah, that's all I'd say on that. So let's hop into first episode 1, titled Glorious Purpose. For anybody who's listening and has not been following the show, sorry, we're jumping right into spoilers as we have been. But Glorious Purpose shows us right out of the gate that we are following the Loki from 2012's Avengers, who in Endgame ends up, due to the Avengers time travel, ends up getting his hands on the Tesseract. I see Q has disappeared. Oh, okay, you're back. Yeah, so what's the name? Loki gets his hands on the Tesseract, escapes from being captive during the events at the very end of the event of the first Avengers film, and ends up going off the rails and is abducted by the TVA, and that's when we're first introduced to the Time Variance Authority. And I said it in my first episode review, what I really like about the show for me right out of the gate, and the Time Variance Authority and the Time Lords and all that stuff, was that I am not overly familiar with this kind of stuff. And a lot of times when I go to watch these MCU projects or whatever the case may be, I know the basic gist of who these characters are, or I'm very familiar with who these characters are. So I can kind of be like, oh, I can see that this is the direction they're going. This is what's going to happen. With the TVA, I was not super familiar. So it was nice to be able to just sit back and just kind of let the show just do its thing in front of me. And so, yeah, I really liked the first episode. I think it did a good job of it was kind of reminded me of like DC's Legends of Tomorrow or like Doctor Who, where it was just like this very wacky, over the top, time traveling kind of story. But yeah, what I liked about that first episode right out of the gate is like, seeing Loki have to kind of be dumbed down. He's trying to be overly powerful. He's trying to be badass, but he can't do anything in this place. And the humor around Loki kind of being put into this whole like system, I thought was great. The introduction of Mobius, played by Owen Wilson, that was great. I thought the chemistry between Owen Wilson and Tom Hiddleston throughout the entirety of the show was awesome. And I think one of my favorite moments, without a doubt, in this show, and one of my, I think now, favorite Loki moments, is him being shown his life, and then having that moment where he's able to kind of like see that his mother ends up dying and all of that stuff, and being able to just kind of watch that all on the screen and realize that ultimately his glorious purpose was to fail. And overall I really enjoyed the episode, and it had me really hyped for the future. So let's start with you, Rashad, this time. What did you think about the first episode, besides the fact that you fell asleep and had to watch it 3 times?
Yeah, well, when I finally watched it and watched it fully awake, first episode had me really scratching my head, because we've seen Loki all these years as the god of mischief. So I almost felt like I was overestimating him, thinking that okay, eventually he's gonna be Loki, the trickster, and eventually trick everybody and come out on top over everybody. But this is like one of the few times that you've seen him vulnerable. You know what I mean? Even when he was watching his whole life and seeing how Thanos killed him and everything, this is the first time we've seen Loki like helpless, powerless. Even when Thanos did choke and kill him, but still he was still Loki. He was still trying to do his thing. And this time this was like an adjustment for me. You know what I mean? But yeah, the first episode I thought was interesting. It was weird. It felt like almost like an acid trip, and I never taken acid a day in my life, but it felt like a fucking acid trip, because I'm like, what? Because coming into this, Anthony, I didn't know what to expect. I just know Loki, and then by the time the episode is over with, I said, what? I'm like, okay, but yeah, I wanted to see where they went with it, and yeah. So the first episode was cool, had me scratching my head. And I just said, okay, Loki is some shit, because usually we see him wiggle his way out of every situation. Now he can't, So I'm like, okay, where are they going to go with this? So that's all I got for episode 1.
Yeah, I should also mention really quickly as well that, of course, at the end of this episode, we do, learn that there is the reason that they even kept Loki around at all was the fact that he, they need his help or specifically Owen Wilson's character Mobius wants his help because they are looking for a variant of Loki that is going around different timelines, causing trouble, killing people, the Minutemen, as they call them, the soldiers for the TVA. And so that's a huge thing. I do want to mention really quickly that, I think I love that vulnerable element of, I think Tom Hiddleston's such a great actor, and that vulnerable element of Loki is always one of my favorite parts of his character. When he does have those small touching moments with Thor or whatever the case may be over the course of the movies, those are ultimately my favorite moments with Loki. And, sometimes people are like, oh, he's just so powerful in the comic books, they don't really utilize that. I can agree to an extent, but I think that Tom Hiddleston plays it so well. And one of my favorite moments in all of the MCU, in a movie that people shit on a lot, is in Thor: The Dark World. And it's when, after Loki's mother is died, Thor comes to see him, and he's acting all cocky and, acting on like normal Loki. And then, Thor's like, drop the fucking illusion. And, he lets the illusion down, and he's on the floor, like all distraught. He's been crying. His room that he's in is like, is all destroyed. And I just love that moment
from Dark World. But that's the best scene from Dark World, I think.
I agree. I think it's the best scene in the movie, and it's just like it's always stuck with me when I think of like top tier Loki moments. So to be able to see him revisit those scenes from a different perspective and kind of have a different approach to it, I really love that. But Q, what did you think of the first episode of the show?
hands off to Tom Hiddleston, like you said. The dude is fucking good. I'm sorry, I don't know if I can cuss it, but
I've already dropped
language.
Language, yeah. But Tom Hiddleston is really good. He's just good as Loki. You know what I'm saying? And I didn't like Loki. You know what I'm saying? I didn't like Loki in the MCU. I did. I love those touching moments, like and it was always in the back of my head, like, yo, this dude kind of a good actor. Like in Avengers, I didn't really care for him too much. Like, it's Loki, he's cool, but I wasn't feeling that. But I really felt it in a Dark World, in some of the Next Door movie, Ragnarok, or Ragnarok, whatever. He had a couple in there that I was like that, you know what I'm saying, that can work. You know what I'm saying? Like he can work. And then when I seen him die in Endgame, when I seen his eyes kind of roll the back of his head when Thanos choked his little neck, I was like, geez. Well, this is the first 10 minutes of the movie. This sucks. You know what I'm saying? I didn't want Loki to die. You know what I'm saying? I didn't want him to die, but I didn't like him. You know what I'm saying? So now we get into Disney Plus, first episode of this season, and it just starts and it brings us back to that glorious Avengers thing, to when he escapes with the Tesseract. I'm like, cool. What happens from here? And then they take us on a ride with Loki into the TSA, and everything's already secretive. Now you messing with Loki, he's already smarter than that. And I was like, oh man, this is kind of smart, This whole, this whole thing is kind of smart. And then like the end of it, like when he finds out his death, you know what I'm saying, and Owen Wilson, shout out to Owen Wilson too. Their chemistry just works very well together. I just want to point that out as well. Yeah. Like, man, I haven't seen Owen Wilson this good in years. You know what I'm saying? To see him with Tom Hiddleston just works. That's why I like the first and the second episode, because they work so good together. And I didn't quite know what's going on when I got in TSA. I'm like, I'm in some type of Back to the Future hell. Like, what is going on? You know what I'm saying? We got this weird little clock face and laughing. I'm like, I don't quite know what's going on, but we're gonna experience it. But that first episode was very intriguing to me. Very intriguing. I wanted to see what was gonna happen. By the end of the episode, I was intrigued. I want to say that, because the acting was fire between Tom Hiddleston and Owen Wilson, so I really enjoyed that. And I enjoyed the production value to a mix, because it looked like some 1965 weird James Bond side room. What is this? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I'm interested. I'm interested in it. It's like, so like the whole thing had me intrigued at the beginning. So I dig that first episode. Yeah, a lot.
Yeah, who comes up with this shit, man? Like cocaine's a hell of a drug. Like, what kind of mushroom, acid, weed, lace shit were they? Whoever wrote this shit, what were they on?
I don't know, man.
I feel like the last time I don't even smoke weed, but last time I smoked weed, I was having illusions like that fucking clock. All right,
that clock is cool. Isn't that clock so cool looking though? Like that little horse clock, like it got like film grain on it or something. Like, how did they do that? I'm looking like, how do they do that? I want to make one like that. Just have it pop up.
I had to make sure I was still sober.
Yeah, no, it's definitely out there, and that's why for me it was like it reminded me of something like Doctor Who, which is just so like about the time travel, and it just gets super weird like that. Quite frankly, as we move into the multiverse becoming a thing in the MCU has definitely been that most accessible comic book like franchise for like casual fans. But DC, for instance, they ride the multiverse thing to the fucking ground sometimes. And like I watch the CW shows like Arrow and Flash and Supergirl and all those, and it's hard to keep up. Like anytime somebody's like, oh, I want to watch Flash, I'm like, if you want to watch Flash, you got to watch all of the other like 8 shows that are part of this universe, because they're all so intertwined. And they get confusing eventually, because you have this Flash and that Flash and this Flash and that Flash from different universes. Like on the Flash TV show alone, they've had like various different Flashes from like the Flash from the original TV show from the 90s appear. They've had other Flash from other universes appear. They've had evil versions of the same characters appear. They've had all this different shit. Ezra Miller's Flash even showed up on the CW Flash. And again, they just kind of ride multiverse thing, and it can become a lot. It can be very confusing for a lot of people. So I think that this show did a pretty good job of explaining the idea of these multiple timelines and the fact that there is the same character just slightly different everywhere. You know what I mean? Like there's just different variations to them. And
I don't lie, I was confused. I was confused when they got to the alligator and the black Loki. And,
I love the alligator.
Yeah, I did too. But like, hey, I'm be honest with you. I don't quite know what's going on. Is the president Loki too? Right. Hey, yeah. I don't know what's going on.
It's a bit much. It does become a bit much, man. Like you really gotta want to pay attention to it. And I think the success of Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, I think was kind of like an eye-opening thing for studios to be like, oh, okay, so audiences can grasp the concept of this multiverse and like let's start implementing this into more things. That's why if all the rumors are true about this new Spider-Man movie that we're getting, you know, they're gonna explain it the same way. There's 3 different Spider-Man from 3 different universes that are just slightly different, you know, and here we're just gonna bring them all together. Yeah, exactly. Miles Morales or Peter Parker's, you know, like in this case, if they bring like Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, and you know Tom Holland, you know, like the multiverse concept can be done really cool.
I know y'all ain't seen Space Jam yet, but multiverse. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, well, yeah, and you can see that in the trailer, like for sure.
Like, whoa, bro! Oh yeah, like y'all really going there too? Like they just like. And I wasn't mad at it because everybody else is doing it. You know what I'm saying? Warner Brothers is doing it. Sony's doing it. Disney's doing it. So
yeah, it's where we're at right now. And you know, like for instance, the upcoming Flash movie, it has Michael Keaton coming back to play Batman, and like apparently, like he's gonna be in it, and Ben Affleck's Batman's gonna be in it too. So again, another movie where we're gonna have 2 separate Batman. I feel like it's only inevitable that one day we have Robert Pattinson alongside Ben Affleck's Batman as well. And I think that that's ultimately gives them the opportunity as creators to pull from everything and anything. They can really surprise us at any turn. Like genuinely, I don't think we're that far off from the day that we get one cameo, one movie, one episode of something where Hugh Jackman shows up in the MCU as Wolverine. Like I feel like we're not far away from that happening at least once. And quite frankly, they can just bullshit in some nonsense. He fell through a portal from another universe. Like, and you as an audience are like, all right, cool. That's all I need because it's comic booky, it's big, it's over the top.
Yeah. Well, he in talks with Kevin Feige right now. Hugh Jackman, they're taking pictures. You seen that? You know
that's a strong possibility. Then,
I thought he was done with Logan. I'm cool if he's done with Logan, but like, hey, you want to pop that?
It's bound to happen.
Yeah, who would be that?
Well, you know me, man. The only thing I could think of watching Loki was, could we finally get Planet Hulk, World War Hulk, the fucking Maestro? If y'all know the Maestro,
it's possible.
He's an old man in gray and shit.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that was the real Logan. That was the original from the comic book. Like they had his DNA or whatever for the thing. Yeah.
Maestro. Yeah. So I kept thinking that, like, okay, finally. The Hulk can get his nuts back. Take Professor Hulk, Kobe in the trash.
I think we'll get the Savage Hulk before it's all over with again.
Yeah,
I honestly do.
Please.
I think it's going to break out again. I think that they'll listen to fans and we'll have that moment where he has his full-on rage moment at some point. But yeah, man, like ultimately we're in this time now where we can get everything and anything. You know, there was rumors at some point, like maybe like I want to say like a few months ago, that Chris Evans was in talks with Marvel for another project. And quite frankly, if they wanted to, bro, one day we could be sitting here watching one of these projects, and here comes fucking Chris Evans as the Human Torch. Like, and ultimately, it's not like any of us are going to be like, ooh, we're going to be like, even if you don't like those movies, you're going to sit there and be like, oh shit, all right, this is fucking happening. Like, you know, like anything, like you can have fun with it at this point. Ben Affleck can show up as Daredevil again. None of us really care for that to happen, but it can happen, you know, like, and we're getting into a good time. There's all that stuff coming out about Charlie Cox, reprising his role as Daredevil in the upcoming Spider-Man movie and in the She-Hulk show. So we may be finally getting connection to the Netflix shows. So we're in a good time. They really can, at this point, the multiverse allows for you as a writer to just use sci-fi nonsense
Go
to just
crazy.
do whatever the fuck you want.
Crazy,
Anything's possible. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. Anything's possible right now. It's so crazy. I can't even believe we're living in these times where back in the playground, we were talking about this stupid multiverse type stuff. What if that? What if that? Now it's actually coming to like
happening. Yep.
Yeah.
Theatrical screens. Like, what is going on?
It's crazy. It's so crazy because I was just talking to a couple coworkers of mine. Now I work with some younger kids, and man, they make me feel old as shit. I'm only 28, but they make me feel old as shit because, you know, like I'm sure you guys were the same thing. You waited years to see the Avengers. The first Avengers movies was like, oh my God, I can't believe that this happened. And, you know, same for me. Like when that movie came out, I was 18 and I had spent my whole life already at that point, like playing the video games and reading the comics and watching the cartoon stuff and just praying one day I'd see a live action Avengers movie. I was talking to one of my coworkers the other day, and they were like, "Yeah, the Avengers was my first movie theater experience. I saw it at 11." And I was like,
"Wow, wow!"
I'm thinking to myself, like,
Q, you can relate to this now. This is how far back me and Q go. Okay,
let's take it
now. As a big comic book fan back in the day, like you, Q, I was like, man, I can't wait to see the Fantastic Four, Daredevil, Spider-Man, all this shit. The first big deal Marvel movie that came out wasn't even released in theaters. It was Dolph Lundgren's Punisher. I remember the big cardboard cutout in the video store. That was a big deal at the time. It was a straight-to-video movie. And then the next year, we get Captain America with the fake ears.
Oh, yeah. That Canada. It was so trash. When the Marvel stuff came out back in the day, it was so exciting. But so trash.
It was bad. It was bad. But you know what? Like, nah, fuck that. I still like the Punisher. I just watched the Punisher recently, the Dolph Lundgren Punisher, and he was riding the motorcycle.
I ain't seen that one in years. Yeah, I ain't seen that one in years.
It's such great 80s cheese, Q. Check it out, man. Watch it drunk. I'm telling you, you'll have a good time.
All right. But yeah, I remember that Fantastic Four, and I don't know how I got it. I got it from some backyard video store because it would definitely went in Blockbuster.
Yeah,
and I had got it.
Yeah.
I was like, what the?
Yeah, that thing was terrible. It
was terrible. And I had no hope. I didn't have no hope for comic book movies. I mean, we were riding the high. We were riding the high from Superman into Batman. You know what I'm saying? Like at first it was Superman. Then Superman kind of took a steep dive, but then Batman rejuvenated things in 1989. It was like, holy shit! All right, let's go. Let's go, Batman. Let's go, Tim Burton. Let's go this whimsical shit. And then, we got Batman and Robin.
Yeah. Gotham Freeze is over.
Yeah. It was like, oh, okay. You know what I'm saying? It took a deep dive, though. But, thankfully, Blade brought us the resurgence. And then from Blade, this whole thing has been birthed. Yeah. Gotta shout out Wesley Snipes because that really started this thing. You know what I'm saying? That really started the resurgence of the comic book movie because they were pretty much dead in the water after Batman and Robin, to be honest with you. That was it. Blade started to back off, and then we could do Spider-Man, we could do X-Men, and then the rest is history.
Yeah, I think Spider-Man and X-Men for sure were the ones that mainstream wise, they were the ones that really helped just kick it off. And it's just crazy to see where we are today. And again, talk to somebody that I worked with that the fact that was their first movie, Avengers, and I'm just like, what? That just blows my mind. What?
Oh, you had it good.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You guys got it so early. And for me, my first movie that I can remember going to see in theaters, was The Phantom Menace at 6 years old.
Nice.
Jeez, I was a grown ass man. I was working in the movie theaters when Phantom Menace came out. Holy crap!
Oh, wow,
yeah.
Crazy. Can you guys remember?
I remember seeing the first movie I seen is Superman. Richard Donner Superman, 1978. I was probably about 3 or 4 years old. I remember that.
That was the first movie.
I think so. That's one after, but the first movie I really remember seeing and actually capturing it was E.T. that I'll talk about on the drive-in sitting on top. I actually understand, but I seen Superman in 78 at the drive-in, and I just remember a guy flying. I just wanted to do that. You know what I'm saying? I was too young to incorporate the story in my brain, but I just remember this is cool. This is 1978 because I was born in 1976. Yeah, so
bro, my first movie experience that I remember, 83, Return of the Jedi. And believe it or not, I still remember the crowd applauding when Vader took the Emperor and threw him over the fucking ledge. I remember everybody that started applauding in the theater, man. Never forget that shit. And from
Is
then
that 83?
Huh?
That was 83. That was 83.
Yep, May 1983.
I seen Empire Strike Back in the theater too. I remember that. What was that? 80.
That was 80. That was 80. Yeah, that was 80.
I remember seeing that. I remember seeing it in like some like small theater and stuff. I didn't know. I haven't seen Star Wars. Yeah, I had never seen Star Wars, the first one, because I just didn't see it. And I remember seeing Empire Strike Back, like, what the hell is this? And I was like a child, but I was like all into it. And then of course I got the VHS. And then when I got like a little bit older, watch it over and over and over and over. Like kids don't know that when you get it like a videotape or a DVD, and you watch it over and 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 over again. That was like one of my most watched films. That, Back to the Future, and of course Ghostbusters. Those like I just on repeat of all times. It made me really fall in love with film, and you know what I'm saying, and happy to talk about this. But like, yo, now we're showing our age, but I'm cool with that age. I'm so cool with it because I
look,
can't.
that was a cool time to be, even though Marvel sucked back then, but it was a cool time to be alive, you know. Yeah, my Marvel films weren't shit, but
no, they weren't shit. They were terrible.
The first big budget Marvel film was Howard the Duck. Come on.
Oh, I like Howard the Duck.
I love it too, man.
I just bought it on 4K. Did
you? Yeah, that was the first MCU joint, man, technically.
Yeah. And how awesome is that? Ant, like his first theatrical debut is Phantom Menace. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. That's still dope to me. You know what I'm saying? Like Phantom Menace, because that was the insertion to Star Wars. I remember them talking about making that. You know,
that was a big deal. Phantom Menace was a big deal. Yeah, Phantom Menace was a big deal.
Phantom Menace is one of the coldest trailers ever made. That Phantom Menace trailer is freaking incredible, bro.
For sure.
I was like,
I'll never forget it. Like it started off there with that mist, that fog. You see the Gungans coming through. You know, like the words popping up on the screen. Every generation has their story or whatever, and then showing like Anakin. I could literally, I have that whole trailer in my mind. With that shot of Maul.
Yeah, boy.
Dude, the first time I saw Darth Maul, the trailer, man, I bought the shirt. I bought the soundtrack. I got the action figure.
Me too, dude. I had the plastic lightsaber. I had all the toys. I had the blow up boy. You remember that blow up boy that you sit in? Like
I had that. I had the same one. I had that same one. Yep.
I was like, oh, like Star Wars is back. Like we're coming back. I remember. And then this is coming from the older is from Return of the Jedi from 83. Now we're going from 83 to 1999. Like, we into it.
Me and my little brother used to box over Duel of the Fates. So we would play Duel of the Fates. We would sit there and have a fucking boxing match.
Yeah. You had to bring it. You had to bring it on Duel of the Fates. I mean, like, you can't be soft.
Shit.
Good times.
Rez, my bad, man. I know we're
no, bro. No, I mean, I kind of started it by talking about
my bad.
No, I love it. I love it, guys. No,
it's good stuff though. It's honest stuff.
Yeah. It's good stuff, and I think it just speaks to the love we all have for film. And it's just to play before we hop into episode 2, it's to play off of what you guys were saying. Like, I think for me, I love that I grew up in I was born in '93, and obviously I'm like younger than you guys. You guys probably think like you're like ancient compared to me, but you're not. And for me, it was like, I'm glad I grew up when I did, because I grew up in this time similar to what you guys said with VHS tapes. Like, we're still a thing. I was going to Blockbuster. I got to live that time. So that idea of renting the same movie over and over again and just burning the shit out of it on your VHS and just playing it over and over and over again and rewinding it and playing it over. That's just something people don't have to deal with these days. And I just think like back then that time spent really nurturing your love for film was like a real experience. Whereas nowadays, it's kind of like, you go on Netflix and you have a million movies, and it's like, if you saw something you liked, you may forget that you saw it 6 months later. You're like, oh yeah, I did like that movie. Whereas if you watched the movie back then, like if you rented something with the family, you may like it, and you may even watch it a second or third time before you returned it to Blockbuster or whatever video store. It was just a different time, and I
hope you recorded. I hope you had like 2 VCRs and you recorded that, family.
Yeah, for sure, all the time. My grandpa had like just walls. My grandpa had walls of just like if they did like a double feature of like just like.
Listen, my typical trip to Blockbuster consisted of renting 2 movies, right? They're getting 2 of the blank VHS Blockbuster tape. You know what I'm saying? And Act 2 popcorn, a Snicker bar, and a 20-ounce Sprite. Come home, rub the shit, and then bring it back.
Facts. That was me. I was a 3-movie guy. Like, yo, I need 3 movies to fit on one tape. You know,
on one tape. You could put an SLP. It was 6 hours. You could put 3 movies on one tape.
And tracking was horrible, but that's how we read it every week.
Oh yeah,
for sure.
Oh yeah.
Oh man.
Well, if it was a movie you really liked, just one movie on that tape. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah. You didn't want to get lost in there, like, or you didn't want to
get lost. Yeah. So if it's something you really loved, it went on this. It had its own tape.
Oh, you had that. You had that high quality.
Had quality, yeah. So look, Scarface, one tape. You know, Godfather got its own. Actually, Godfather was one tape. Yeah.
I remember like
4 hours.
I remember my grandpa just having all these tapes. He'd have like it would just on the side of it. He would just have written out like Bruce Lee, Enter the Dragon, Chuck Norris, this just like if they did like double features and with commercials and everything.
Yeah,
just good times. But look, I love talking about this kind of stuff. We got to do like a regular live stream. It's been way too long. I've been wanting to do streams again, bro, but I've just been lost in doing my reviews, and I'm like, damn, I haven't done a stream in a minute. And now doing this here, I'm like, damn, we got to do this more. All right, so. Episode 2, the variant. This is the one. Let's just jump straight to it. The main thing that everybody's talked about from this episode was the big reveal at the end, where we learned that this variant of Loki is a female, and her name is Sylvie. Now we don't learn that her name is. I think we learned her name is Sylvie at the end of the episode. I think we may learn that at the next episode. But we're introduced to Sophia Di Martino's character of Sylvie, the female version of Loki, female variant of Loki. Who is very different from the other variants of Loki. And yeah, ultimately, I really enjoyed this episode. Again, it's a great follow-up, a great little setup of the TVA. We're learning more about them. We're starting to understand that things are a little bit weird. Things aren't exactly what they expected to be. But we're getting that vulnerable side to Loki, as we've been talking about. One of my favorite moments in between the first two episodes is, Owen Wilson's character trying to kind of understand like what makes Loki tick. And one of my favorite moments, I can't remember if it's in the first episode or in the second one, but Loki says something along the lines eventually, that he doesn't like hurting people, that, it's just kind of doing that as kind of like almost like something you do to kind of protect yourself from showing that you're weak. I love the fact that they kind of lean into the vulnerability of Loki there. But yeah, ultimately, again, a very well shot film. I kind of look at them as films because that's kind of what they feel like. Very well shot episodes, very well acted. Really enjoyed the scenery of like that location at the very end when they learned that the variant is going to various to different big like just world-ending events. I'm trying to think of what the word is for it that they used in the episode, but big disaster.
Yeah. That's what tipped my tongue too.
Apocalypse.
They were going to the big disasters, like things that were like the Nexus events can't really happen, that they can't really have any branch in the timeline in these moments because that moment in time is going to end. So, for instance, Loki ends up talking Owen Wilson's character into eventually being like, "Hey, let's go to Pompeii," because he sees like stuff that Ragnarok was destroyed and realized that there was no variance energy coming out of that world-ending event. So he's like, well, I'm not going to take you to Ragnarok because you're just going to dip on me. So he's like, all right, let's go somewhere else. So he takes him to Pompeii. He starts making a fool of himself, throwing things around, causing this ruckus, and then Owen Wilson's character realizes that this indeed is not changing anything in the timeline, and so he has some truth to this. That's how they eventually end up discovering where the Loki variant is, also thanks to the fact of the little like the candy that Sylvie had left the little girl from the church at the beginning of the first episode. They used that to kind of realize that she is at this area that's about to be destroyed by a hurricane in, I think, like 2050 in some like technology store. And yeah, we got that whole last sequence where we have a bunch of different actors getting to play as Loki because they're enchanted by Sylvie, and then we get that moment at the end where Loki ends up going through the portal with Sylvie, and that's kind of the cliffhanger for that episode. So Q, we'll start with you this time around. What did you think about the second episode, The Variant? What did you think about Sophia Di Martino's introduction as Sylvie in this show?
Yeah, like I said, this was one of my favorite episodes of the entire season because it started to get smart with the mythology. Like, I think it's a scene with Owen Wilson and Loki, like going through the papers and finding out that the apocalypse events is where the variant could be hiding. I thought that was really smart. I thought that was really smart and fun. You know what I'm saying? Before we find out, like I think we find out that at the end of the first episode, we don't even know if it's a lady Loki to this second one. So like when we meet her and they find her in that apocalyptic event, it felt like almost like Back to the Future 2 in a better told way. You know what I'm saying? It was just like, this is really fucking cool. This time I could have really rolled out the whole entire season of them just going into apocalypse and, you know what I'm saying, this kind of rat chase. I would have liked that. I mean, like, shit, that'd have been cool enough, you know. But you know, of course they switched it on us, and like I said, this one was one of my favorite episodes. This cat and mouse game, if you will, of this episode was just entirely fun. You know what I'm saying? And the mythology that they were building was just dope to me. It was just dope. I was like, yeah, let's go here. Let's do this. Let's stick here. You know what I'm saying? But you know, of course, they varying off in other episodes. But like, this was one of my favorite of the season.
Yeah, I almost agree with you. Had they kind of like made it like we're a little bit like, I love what they ended up doing, but like had they made the show a little bit more like a chase for this other, you know, the other Loki, and they had to kind of go to these different disasters and kind of try to find her throughout all these, I think it could have made for a pretty cool, different kind of show, you know, like in each place could have had this great setting. But what did you think about this episode, Rashad?
Yeah, definitely. I was getting Catch Me If You Can vibes from it, you know, the whole cat and mouse thing. And yeah, the whole buddy cop relationship that Loki and Mobius had, I dug that. Like, you know, like you said earlier, you know, I dug the chemistry. And once again, I was overestimating Loki because throughout the whole duration of the show, I'm expecting Loki to finally outsmart the TVA and be the trickster that we know him to be. Like, I'm always expecting that. So I'm like, okay, now that, you know, because before Mobius had the upper hand on him where he was, telling him shit, but now Loki's like, no, man, let me teach you a thing or two. I'm the god of mischief. Okay, sit back, youngin, and let the OG speak. So I'm like, okay, now this is where Loki finally gets the upper hand on the TVA and, you know, does his thing. But now, once again, it doesn't. We get the big reveal. It's a woman. Oh, shit. And then, like you said, cliffhanger. I'm like, oh, another cliffhanger. Okay. I wonder if every episode is going to be like this. But yeah, man, I liked it better than the first episode, and I stayed awake the whole time. So that's a good thing. And I probably checked my phone probably twice.
All right. So caught Rashad's attention a little bit more on episode 2. Well, then that leads us right into episode 3, where we pick up right at the very beginning with Loki and now with Sylvie. They get into a bit of a fight at the TVA. That's where the portal ended up leading them at the end of the second episode. And this fight ends up leading Loki to using the time pad and sending them to another disaster that she had preset in her time pad. And the one that they end up sending themselves to is Lamentis, Lamentis 1, actually, specifically. And that's the name of that's the title of the episode, Lamentis. And this whole episode is a character building episode, and I loved it. I was in love with the episode, and if I'm not mistaken, I remember we were talking in our group chat on Facebook that you guys weren't really crazy about this episode. You guys thought it was very dialogue heavy and maybe not as exciting. Whereas for myself, I can genuinely say I really loved the character development around Loki and Sylvie in this episode, and just being able to, especially now where we've seen where it's all gone, I really feel like this episode was so crucial in building their narrative. I saw a lot of people call this episode filler too, and I just feel like if you remove this episode, you kind of remove some of the emotion that this episode kind of built up in terms of the rest of the episodes, and specifically between Loki and Sylvie. But yeah, they're on this planet that's literally going to go to shit very soon, and the majority of the episode is them trying to get power to the time pad and then trying to get their way to this, make their way to this arc that's on the planet that's going to be like the safe haven to escape the planet. And the episode ends with the arc actually being destroyed by the falling debris that's coming from the air, from the atmosphere, destroys the arc, and now they're trapped on this planet that's doomed to fail. And I will say this too, I really enjoyed the character development between the two characters, them getting to know each other. But the one moment for me that for some reason stuck, I saw the episode twice, and the one moment for me that just stuck with me for some reason and just kind of had me mesmerized was when Loki was singing. He gets drunk and he starts singing, and at first it's kind of just silly and fun. but then he ends up like singing it in like Asgardian, and I don't know why, but that moment I loved it so much. So yeah, overall I loved the episode. I thought it was a solid, great character episode. But yeah, I'm curious to hear different opinions. Rashad, what did you think of Lamentus?
I ain't like it. It was this episode. It was this episode where I said, "Am I going to make it through the rest of the show?" Now, I mean, Prez, I get what you're saying, and like you, I should have enjoyed this because I like dialogue, I like character development and all that. But when I'm not 100% sure what's going on and I'm already halfway confused, and then it's a dialogue-driven episode where it just adds to my confusion, I got frustrated, And then when Loki got drunk on the train, that's when my expectations of Loki finally outsmarting everybody just went out the fucking window. I said, okay, this is not going. It's not going where I think it's going to go. Loki is not going to outsmart the TVA. He's not going to take over the TVA. He's acting like a drunken idiot, and Sylvie is actually acting like the fucking alpha here. You know what I'm saying? Loki is like taking a back seat to the female version of himself, and I'm like, no, man, you're Loki. I've been rocking with you since the first Thor. What you doing, bro? She just came in the game. She a rookie, So yeah, and then when they tossed him out the window and shit, okay, this episode made Loki look like a little bitch. If I can keep it a buck, Loki looked like a bitch in this episode, man. I lost a lot of respect for him, but once again, I said I like this show to the point where I can't stop watching it. So even though I wasn't feeling this episode, I was looking forward to the next one, and thank God the next one delivered. I know we wouldn't get to that. The next one delivered, but this one here. Thumbs down. Not feeling it.
Man. I also want to mention really quickly, too, before we hear Q's thoughts, that this episode has two references to the Thor movies. The most notable one is when Loki is, or the one that I think people will recognize the most.
Another.
Another. When he decides to drop the martini glass when he's drinking. And then the second one is when they're fighting on the train before they end up getting thrown off, which I will agree was a bit like just goofy and cartoony. But before they get tossed off, when they're fighting, Sylvie actually takes off her headpiece, the horns, and starts fighting with them, similar to what Loki did in Thor Ragnarok. When they're when he's on the Bifrost bridge, he uses his like horns to fight. So it was nice little references, callback. But Q, what did you think about this episode?
I don't remember a lot of it because I was bored. I was actually bored. I was like, "Fuck, I'm fucking bored." All right, so I watched. What was it? Yesterday or the day before? I watched Hateful Eight, the extended, long ass version on Netflix. Right, Quentin Tarantino shit. Dialogue heavy, right? But why was I so interested about what everything was going on? I don't know. It was stupid shit about an Abraham Lincoln letter. I was totally into it. But this shit, I don't know. I was just like, what the Yo, what time is it? Yo, can we? I don't know. This not working for me. I don't know if I was missing Owen Wilson or whatever. Like, cause he wasn't in this episode at all. Like the episode before, like I said, too, I was all into them figuring out what was going on. But this one, I was like, man, I don't know if I can deal with a whole hour where Loki basically wants to F himself. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know how I feel about this shit. I don't know how I feel it. I don't know how I feel about it. I don't know how, that's what it was. It was like a love letter to himself for an hour. Like, shit. I get it. I'm confused, but I know what you're trying to do. You're trying to help yourself. What a narcissist, right? Whoa. And they even come back to the end. They come back to that at the end, but I don't know. I don't think they should spend too much time with this. You know what I'm saying? I think it should have been cut down a little bit. I don't know. I just wish they would have got into a little bit more plot. Even the action, even though the production always is good on Disney Plus, this one was not hidden from me. I think this is my least favorite episode of the season. That's just me, though. You know what I'm saying? I feel you what you're saying, Anthony. You know what I'm saying? With the great thing, the dialogue between them, man, but it was just too long and boring. It was like, what is it, Fear Street 1978? Who give a about the first 45 minutes of it?
I haven't seen any of the Fear Streets yet. I gotta get on that. But I'm always slacking on the streaming stuff. But
this works.
You got me doing my ugly laugh, man. Thank you.
That's that Tisha Campbell laugh. That's that Tisha Campbell laugh when I said you like Chucky.
Oh shit.
Yeah, you know, I get it, right? Like ultimately, like I think when you look at the whole show as an overall, I think it's one of the least eventful, you know, and I think what it really informs the most is these two characters and the connection that they would build. I think if you remove this episode and that time spent, you lose a little bit of the magic between those two characters in the following episodes.
And I get you. I wouldn't say remove it. I would just say cut it down a little bit.
Trim some of that fat off.
Do something else cooler or something. Like it was just like the whole thing was that. And then like I got some old guy. He changed. They had some Loki's like, oh yeah, mommy. Yeah, I haven't seen you in years. Like this is the part I liked about the episode. Like, my husband would never say some shit like that. Boom. That was my favorite shit right there. Like that's Loki shit right there. So that works for me. But I feel you, Am. Yeah, I feel you.
No, I mean, ultimately, that's why I love doing these spoiler discussions with multiple people. I love hearing the different opinions, and honestly, I went online that right after doing my video, and I was hyped on that episode. I don't know what it was; it just spoke to me, and I went on, and you guys are. I would say you guys are in the majority. Like I would say most people I saw online were not crazy about this episode. So
who cares? Say it with your chest. Say what you want with your chest. No matter how you feel about it.
My chest was fulfilled in what was said.
That's what happened with me and Black Widow, man. After I finished Black Widow, I didn't see any reviews on it, prior to it. So when I finished Black Widow, I was hyped. I said, shit, I enjoyed the fuck out of that, man. So when I did my review, I was like, yes, and I give it an A, and it was great. And then when I watched the review, man, this movie was trash, bro. Man, Black Widow did shit on Black Widow, and I'm like,
yeah,
I'm like, have I been wrong?
Yeah, I didn't understand the hate for Black Widow either. I had my criticism, but I had a lot of fun with it. I thought it was like definitely way better than Captain Marvel, and
for sure.
And then I would say like, since we're talking about like Loki and stuff, I would say I probably liked it more than the first two Thor movies.
Well, I went to second guess myself as a critic, man. I said, damn, I said that this is like somebody that's been, let's see what, because I'm in love with Scarlett Johansson, so I'm like, damn, did she enchant me to where I'm blinded by my love for her? So
it was fine. I think the movie is fine. You know what I'm saying? Like, of course, say it with your chest. If you say something, say it. I just gave Space Jam 2 a super positive review. Okay, I might get shit for it. I don't know. But that's how I felt. You know what I'm saying? That's how I'm not gonna be over here and be PC about nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like if I say like that, that's how I feel. You know what I'm saying? I didn't find myself back in the day doing PC reviews like Justice League. Yes, I think I gave Justice League an A. Back in the day, like what? like I'm looking like, what the fuck am I talking about, dog? Like, I'm being too PC about this. I'm not being honest. I think I was being biased because I like DC and I want them to win, and I want
same here.
I want everyone to like it, and you know what I'm saying. But that ain't the truth. You know what I'm saying? Like us being critics, we've been here for years now, so we have to be honestly and truthfully about what we're talking about. I think it's important to whatever communities that we have to be honest about what's going on, you know what I'm saying? So, you know what I'm saying? I think it makes us a better reviewer, and I think it, you know what I'm saying, people will respect that more or not, maybe, but a lot of people like to hear PC reviews, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, okay, yeah, everyone likes that. So,
you gotta maintain that integrity for your channel, and ultimately, like, I come into the same thing, whether I hated the movie or I liked it or I wasn't crazy about it. Like you got to maintain integrity. Even recently, when I did that interview with that guy who directed that movie that I got to watch, Father's Legacy. Oh, yeah. And my dad, right before I went live, my dad was like, "Hey, just make sure you're not like kissing his ass." My dad was curse, but he was like, "Make sure you don't, you're not kissing his butt." He's, and I made it known, like I made the questions more about like the project and everything, but I said it to him. I go, I have my criticisms about the movie, and we didn't get into it, but I made it known that like, I don't think the movie's perfect, and I think it's important. I think it's important in general to just kind of like with this kind of thing is just speak your mind, just be as real as you want to be, as real as you got to be, and
not disrespectful. Like, hey, your movie motherfucking sucks, bro. Like this shit is garbage. Don't do that.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? But like,
just be true to how you felt about it, though. Yeah, just be true to how you felt about it.
You got to be real about it. All right, so let's move into episode 4, the Nexus event. Episode opens up, and we see Sylvie and Loki are pretty much ready to just die on Lamentis. They share a pretty nice moment, and sharing this nice moment that's starting to build up some romance, leaning back into what Q said about Loki wanting to fuck himself.
That was this whole season was about.
Yeah,
pretty much, right?
Basically.
And they end up causing a Nexus event, which ends up causing some sort of little thing on the timeline. So the TVA now knows where they are. They end up getting in there right at the last second, saving them, end up arresting them. And this episode ends up leading us finally to see the Time Lords. We go down there, we see these 3 individuals, these 3 special beings down there. What is going on? I'm getting like these comments from this individual. Hold on, we got Sussy Balls saying hello, yo, and then he says,
Sussy Balls,
guys, I have a question.
I love his name though, Sussy Balls.
They keep saying this now. So if you have a question, go ahead and drop it. You caught my attention for sure. If you drop the question, and I'll pull it on the screen. Unless it's some nonsense. I don't know who Sussy Balls is. This is the first interaction with Sussy Balls.
It sounds sussy.
It does sound sussy.
You know what? Yeah.
We'll see what happens here. But so Nexus event ends up ending with a reveal that the Time Lords are not what we thought they were. The TVA, lizard people, ends up turning into ends up kind of being revealed to be androids, just robots. They aren't what they think they are. And it seems like even Ravonna Renslayer, the judge, she's a bit kind of taken aback by this. A lot happens this episode. Owen Wilson ends up getting pruned. Loki ends up getting pruned. The biggest points of this episode, the biggest moments of this episode for sure are the end, where we learn that the TVA is not what we know it to be. And I forgot to mention that in Lamentis, we actually learned that everybody at the TVA are actually variants, and they start to figure that out a little bit more in the next episode, specifically once the head is chopped off of one of these Time Lords. And we learn that they are indeed not what they seem to be, and that we're in a bit of a Wizard of Oz situation. The post-credit scene for this episode shows us that Loki is in some special place, and he is standing or lying down as he stood above, or there's individuals stood above him is what I meant to say. I'm sorry, I can't speak. And these individuals are himself. He's got Kid Loki, classic Loki, played by Richard E. Grant, which I just love that he's in the show. Black Loki, and then you have Alligator Loki. Overall, I thought this was a cool episode. I think when I look back at the series, for me, this has got to be one of the more what's it called? One of the more forgettable episodes. Not the big reveal at the end, but just like when I think about the events of what actually transpired after they actually come back to the TVA and while they're like locked up, before they get down there to where the actual where the actual things are, where what's happening with the TVA and the Time Lords. I kind of just like that episode's a little bit forgettable for me. Q, we'll start with you. What did you think about this episode?
So I'm remembering seeing those Lokis and the should we say Black Loki? Is that can we say that? Black Loki.
I hope so, because
no, Black Loki. I'm just fucking with you. I didn't like that episode at all. Yeah, I didn't like that one either. You know what I'm saying? I like the alligator Loki, and I like this cool the old Loki with the like the comic book,
the comic accurate Loki,
the comic accurate Loki, but I don't remember a lot about this episode. They were just down there bullshitting, to be honest.
Just to be clear, we're not talking about the episode where those characters are actually in it. We're talking about the episode.
Well,
that before that, where Loki ends up getting pruned and
I'm sorry, I'm jumping the gun. Yeah,
no, you're good.
Yeah, but I didn't like that one though. But the one before that one, before this one was interesting too, because of the pruning of Owen Wilson. Right, this one he get pruned, right, in this episode.
Yeah.
Okay,
and
yeah.
episode 4, the Nexus event. Yeah.
Yeah, then we start to find about the TVAs like BS and things like that. So yeah, this episode was pretty good, but now I'm getting lost in the time variance. I don't know if I had too much beer or whatever. Like I'm getting lost in the show. Like where are we?
Yeah.
Where are we going exactly? Like I'm kind of getting these episodes blurred together. You know,
Yeah,
because that's what the show was to me. I'm like, okay, now what's happening? Yeah, you know that I'm not the smartest guy in the world. I'll tell you that. You know what I'm saying? Like, but I'm getting these episodes kind of blurred together. This one, I don't remember a whole lot. You know what I'm saying? I remember the pruning of Owen Wilson, but he's not dead. We definitely gonna see him again. And that's what I remember from this episode too much. And then seeing the Lokis at the end, and I don't know what the hell is going on now. Like, it's just super crazy. Like I'm high. Am I high or I'm on drugs? I don't know what's going on by the end of the episode. So I can't really comment a lot on there because I don't recall a whole lot. That's why I say I have to watch this series again because like now I'm getting lines blurred. You know, I apologize for it.
No, I definitely think like the most notable stuff for sure is the whole end with revealing that the Time Lords are these robots, that they're it's not what we all think it is to be. It's a cool action sequence at the bottom there. Again, great set design, great costume design, all that jazz. Really quickly, because this individual Sussy Balls wants us to answer the question. He said, "I'm black myself, so it's cool." Obviously referring to what he was saying before. He also said, there's a rumor of a deleted scene in Loki 2021 where he is singing West End Girls by the Pet Shop Boys. Do y'all think this is true? Rumor has it someone recorded it on the set. And he asked if we did get his question. We did get your question. Sorry, we were just talking. I honestly haven't heard this rumor. I don't know what the Pet Shop Boys are. I don't know what West End Girls is. I don't know.
Yeah.
Do you guys have any knowledge?
I know that. Don't we know the song? I know you know the song.
I know the song, but I don't know about Loki singing it.
So I don't know anything about that. I mean, I guess it's possible that happened on the set, right? Like it was just. But are you saying that Loki, the character, sang it? Like it was supposed to be in the show, or is it just something like Tom Hiddleston did for fun on the set? And
he might did it for fun. Yeah, it's all good. While we were on set, we were just rapping weird Dr. Dre lyrics, like with his head cut off, mother. I'm Dre. So we had the whole crowd singing it to listen to the play-by-play, day by day. It's like 3:00 in the morning. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. We're singing a Dre song. I mean, that's just stuff you do to keep you awake. You know what I'm saying? Because these shoots go on for 15, 16, 17 hours a day. So like, if you ain't got no more Red Bull left, you better find out some way to keep it hype. Oh, Loki actually sang it. Yeah, sure.
I mean. When it comes to Loki, you can't put nothing past him, man. So yeah, most likely.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's possible. Yeah, I mean, I hadn't heard that. Thanks for the information, Sussy Balls. By the way, I like your name. So what's it called? I had no knowledge of that at all. But I mean, maybe they'll release it with I'm sure that they're gonna do the similar thing that they've done with WandaVision and Falcon and the Winter Soldier and Mandalorian. That the gallery, the making of kind of thing, and maybe they'll touch on stuff like that there. We're gonna say
I know I can't wait to watch that Luke Skywalker episode of Mandalorian 2 that's coming out. That's
I'm looking forward to that. Because
I was mad. Yeah. I watched the Disney Plus one, the whole thing. Like, wait, where the season finale? Where the Luke? Huh? What's going on? That was the most fires ever. You know what I'm saying? Like, you ain't gonna show us? Yeah, I gotta see how y'all did that CG. I'm very curious.
Yeah, I'm very curious to watch that too. Like, I definitely want to see how they made that for sure. But Rashad, let's hear what you thought about the Nexus event, episode 4.
I liked it better than 3. That's for damn sure. Yeah, I liked it better than 3. It was. You know what? When Loki and what's the female version of himself called again?
Sylvie.
Yeah. Sylvie. It's awkward when they're together because that's the female version of himself. You know what I'm saying? So that's like you sitting with a girl version of you, you know what I'm saying? And you're like, it was kind of weird. But though awkward, I did like the scene together. It showed Loki once again showing that vulnerable, that tender side of him, I guess his feminine side, But I just kept having the feeling like, okay, Loki can't be trusted, So just like I was anticipating him outsmarting the TVA, now that he's with with his female self. I'm like, okay, this is gonna get to a point where he's gonna swindle her. He's gonna, trick her, and she always has a guard up. So I'm saying he's gonna have to work extra hard now to to trick her into getting where he wants to get, which is on the throne. So I kept feeling that. So even though it was a good scene where he was, I guess, pouring his heart out, but in the back of my mind, I'm like, but this is Loki. Loki has no fucking heart, man. Loki's an asshole. He's playing her. I'm saying? He's trying to pimp her out. I kept thinking that. I don't know. So I guess it didn't have the impact to me that it might have had for others, because I don't trust this motherfucker. And that's the way his character's written. You can't trust him, Yeah. So that part I dug. And the reveal at the end with all the Lokis, I said cocaine's a hell of a drug. Whoever the writers are of this show, cut that shit out. All right, it's gonna kill your brain cells, son. It's gonna kill your brain cells, because
it's only gonna get crazier. It's only gonna get crazier. It's only gonna get crazier as we move into like more of the multiverse, and they start to lean into this like even more. It's gonna get wild. I also see Sussy Balls also asked us if this show takes place before Loki died in Infinity War or after. He says he's hella confused. So I guess for anybody who is confused, this show takes place, I guess, both. You can say both, because it takes place in a universe, in a pocket of time that doesn't really exist. It exists, but it's not really in any sort of time. He's taken out of the timeline before the events of Infinity War, but he's obviously able to see the events of Infinity War through that TVA device that allows him to see his future. And so I guess it takes place before and after, but technically it's before. Like that Loki hasn't experienced any of that, so it is a bit confusing. But any final thoughts, Rashad? Sorry, I cut you off there. Any more thoughts?
Nah. The final reveal was cool. The thing that sticks out to me the most was him and a girl Loki talking. The Owen Wilson scene I thought was cool too. That was kind of because I liked his character and I hated to see him go, and I thought he was a goner for real. Like just the way he went out, I'm like, okay, we're probably not going to see this guy again, and it kind of got me a little bit. But other than that, I thought it was better than 3. I mean, still not crazy about it, not 100% in love with it, but it was better than 3, and I'd probably check my phone maybe 2 times.
Gotcha.
And I stayed awake the whole time.
All right, that's the number one seal of improvement. That's what.
I got one little side note. Like, so if Loki and Sylvie together, is that the same thing as masturbation?
In a way, you would think so. You would think, because if you think about it, you're thinking about yourself as a woman. Okay, so you take yourself, you shave the beard off, give yourself boobs and shit, and So that's why I said it was awkward. It was awkward to look at, man.
I think it would have been weirder had she looked exactly like him, like with black hair and everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Michael J. Fox in Back to the Future 2 with the little red hair.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, Mom. Shit. I'm sorry. It's like, it's my masturbation.
So moving into
shout out to Sussy Ball.
Shout out to Sussy Balls. He's got another question real quick. I see he goes, in one of the original Loki comics from 1976, he meets a character called Nate Higgers. He is essentially Loki's guardian angel. All right, I'll respond to the rest when you type it out. We're moving into the final, the 5th episode. This is my personal favorite, Journey into Mystery, and this is the one where we actually spend time in the void, the end of time itself, and this kind of time that just has not been written. And everything and anyone that gets pruned by the TVA ends up here. That's where Loki ends up meeting all these various versions of himself, including an alligator Loki, President Loki, classic Loki. I don't know exactly what the name of that Loki is that's played by the black actor. But because I know that he is a specific Loki. I don't think he's black in the comics. He could be. I could be wrong. That's cool just to have that diversity, the different kinds of Lokis.
It works.
And this is where we're introduced to Eliath, the big smoke creature with like a bone face kind of thing that destroys anything that's sent there, that's pruned. But the Lokis have all survived. We have Kid Loki in there as well. And this was just a big over the top just comic book sci-fi fantasy episode that I think did a really good job of having that big action, having the humor, having those moments where Loki can kind of like have like self-reflection on himself by seeing the other Lokis and realize that they're all fucking crazy. But then you also have Sylvie pruning herself to get in there, realizing that, you know, that they're still alive. They end up working together by the end of the episode to enchant the Alioth, the big creature, which ends up opening like a portal, leading into the next episode where we see some sort of building kind of just in the middle of time and space. But yeah, before that, it's just a fun episode. I love the visuals, love the CG, love the costume design, the performances, the character development. You know, despite the jokes about, you know, Loki trying to fuck himself.
It's fine.
You know, I like the romance that's built between the two of them in that episode. There's that nice little scene where he like conjures up a blanket for the two of them. You know, I just thought it was a touching moment.
Yeah, that was sweet.
Yeah, it was sweet. Yeah, there you go. It's a little bit weird just, you know, knowing the context that it's just another version of himself. But yeah, I love that. You got that great scene where Owen Wilson's character Mobius comes and saves Sylvie from Alioth in that car. And yeah, ultimately, I love Owen Wilson in the show. I think he's one of my favorite like newer Marvel characters. I hope he goes on to show up in the movies later on. And I can't believe we didn't get to see him like get his jet ski. You know what I mean? Like that was a huge thing throughout the course of the season. No payoff there. But yeah, ultimately for me, this was just a big fun episode that like had so many big comic book elements, showed me things as a comic book fan that I always wanted to see. Richard E. Grant, I thought was great as classic Loki, especially when he comes back to help them near the end. And he's like showing us that badass, strong Loki that we know he is, like how powerful he is, just doing all these illusions and stuff.
Yeah,
you know, the costume is hilariously terrible, but that's kind of the point. And yeah, it left me excited for the finale. It left me hyped. I was super engaged in that episode, and I think without a doubt, my personal favorite of the entire series. Rashad, what did you think of this episode?
Yeah, I agree 100%. This was definitely my favorite episode, the one I was most engaged in, the one where my eyes weren't even close to getting heavy, and I probably checked my phone only once. Okay, so I dug this one. Yeah, it's a shame where out of this whole show, my favorite two characters is an alligator and an old man Loki that was comic book accurate because he looks just like he does in the comics, even the way he sits. Okay, because Loki sits kind of like he slouches, spread eagle, you know, like a G. And that's how he was sitting, you know what I mean? So they got classic Loki down to a T, man. And to hit the full extent of his power and what he can do, I'm like, that's the Loki I remember reading in Thor back in the fucking late 80s. You know what I'm saying? That's the Loki I remember. So yeah, shout out to him and shout out to the alligator. I love the alligator. I want one. Okay, I want just as bad as I want to. What was Baby Yoda's name again? Oh God, I forgot Baby Yoda's name already.
Grogu.
Yes. As bad as I want a Grogu, I want a alligator Loki, and I love the way he was biting off hands and shit. You know, so yeah, this one had it like Wizard of Oz ending, where I'm like, okay, we finally get to see, you know, the magic Oz. You know what I'm saying? Like, what's gonna be the big reveal in the next episode? You know, another cliffhanger. You know, so when this episode ended, I had such high expectations going into 6. I said, okay, now that they done set everything up, we had all these cliffhangers. Everything has got to be answered episode 6. Let's not waste no fucking time. Let's get into it, and we're going to get to that next. But yeah, 5 had me hyped. I was hyped after episode 5. So yeah, easily my favorite one.
Yeah, for sure. No, I definitely agree. I'm glad that you also found it to be the best one because I just think that it just took everything that had been built up before it and just went full balls to the wall Loki. I mean, literally the whole episode is Loki. There's more Loki in that episode than any other episode or any other thing that has featured Loki at all. What about you, Q? What do you think about Loki? Or not Loki, this episode, Journey?
Yeah, that's Loki. Yeah, you're right. Like, I don't know how you broke that plot synopsis down so good. Like, I didn't understand what was going on until you just explained it just now. honestly, like, oh, okay, that happened. I'm like, oh, they were brought when they got pruned. All the Lokis go to this world, right?
Like a purgatory almost, right?
Yeah.
So like, okay, so like, say if one of the agents got pruned, they don't go here, do they?
Or yeah, well, the idea is like, The idea is everyone goes there. That's why there's that.
Everyone goes there
because there's that one scene where like Loki's like, "Oh, we'll destroy Alioth," and some sort of like big Navy vessel, big Navy ship shows up.
Yeah,
and he's
okay,
like,
cool.
he's like, "We'll flank it. We'll flank it from behind," and then it destroys the ship in like 2 seconds. But yeah, the idea is like any world that's pruned, and this episode had like tons of Easter eggs because the idea is like any variants from the time. From the sacred timeline would be sent here. So like in the background, you can see like a crashed shield helicarrier. You can see a crashed. I don't know what the name of the ship is, but the same ship that Ronan the Accuser and Thanos rode around in.
I didn't see all that. I didn't see all that. So that's why I was confused. Yeah. That's why I was like, okay, like damn, this all makes sense. And they got this sort of like this cloud that just eats everything. You know what I'm saying?
It's like a wasteland.
Like a wasteland. So that makes sense. So that's why I have to watch this episode again. Now that you say that, I'm not, like going back on like I was saying I didn't like certain things of this, but like now that I know the concept and I understand it, like that's kind of dope. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of dope.
There's little Easter eggs in there too. There's also a Thanos copter in there at one point, which I didn't see on the first viewing. Yeah, I saw it on my second viewing because I saw people talking about it. But yeah, there's like it's from the comics. There's literally a helicopter that says Thanos on the side of it, and it's crashed in there as well. Nice. And there's the most notable like thing I think you just can't miss it is when they're actually panning down into like their little Loki base underground. You see Mjolnir, whatever, Thor's hammer is in there, and then Thor is inside of like a.
I seen that like when it came out. He was trying to fight out. Yeah. I see. I remember that. Damn, that's super cool. Now I want to go watch this episode again. Like, I definitely enjoyed the finale of this episode. I think you are 100% right. It's more This is Loki season finale. This is Loki. Everything. You know what I'm saying? This is the combination of everything. Loki and the purgatory. Them all protecting each other. You know what I'm saying? As one. The narcissists watching each other backs. You know what I'm saying? I love that scene when he brought Asgard up, yo. I was like, holy shit, this is powerful. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And then, the monsters tried to get it. He couldn't get it, man. He was biting the side of the building. Great CG there. Yeah. Holy shit. Now I'm remembering this episode. Now they're not running into each other because it got so like confusing. Sometimes I forgot what happened. Now that you guys both talked about it and you gave that great plot synopsis, it's like, yeah, this shit was dope. This was a very, very good episode of Loki. Yeah, you might be right. Now I'm rehashing. This might be. I really love that season finale. I don't know. I just love the setup for this character. But this was a really good episode for the character Loki. Loki. This was probably the best episode for him. Yeah.
Shout out to the Gator. Sure. Yeah.
Shout out to the Gator when he ate his hand. And he had no hand and shit. Yeah. That was great. It was great.
I think it was a solid episode. And
I think about it. I like that. I don't know why I forgot it. It was forgettable for me, but when you brought it all back and like I seen it all like play out in my head, like oh damn, that was dope. Yeah, that's dope. Now I know what's happening. Like oh okay, because I was confused a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. Like my brain.
A lot of people like felt like this show was just a little bit confusing, and I think ultimately like this show is going to be the big test for moving forward with the multiverse and these different cracked out ideas as Rashad has been saying, like these cocaine ideas. Real quick, I see we got a comment from A-Town Reviews saying, hey y'all, honestly, he says, hey y'all, honestly, this whole series was underwhelming for me. The setup for what's to come during the next season. During the season finale, or what's to come next, during the season finale was cool, but everything else was just meant to me. Episode 5 was lit though. I think ultimately I disagree with you, A-Town, but I'm sorry that I didn't do it for you, but I'm glad that you're at least excited for the things to come. Would you guys say that this show was like underwhelming for you? Was it just whelming? I don't know. Was it just like right there, like the good Marvel, or was it maybe like did it exceed your expectations? Like, just based on that comment, where would you guys say that this kind of landed for you?
I say whelming, I think this is going to be one of those, like I said earlier, when it comes time to binge it, I think I'll appreciate it more, but right now it's like, it's cool. I'm not 100% in love with it, but I don't dislike it. I don't hate it by a long shot. It's just, it's cool for me, I think once I can grasp everything, you know what I'm saying, I think I might like it more than, like I say, you know, when I binge it again, I'll appreciate it. But right now, it's just like, it's all right. It's, you know, it's cool.
It is cool.
I mean,
yeah, it's cool.
Compared to WandaVision, I think WandaVision was more entertaining, but Loki, I think, is just better because it did what WandaVision was supposed to do, and that was like be really different. Because at the end, ultimately, WandaVision just became another MCU,
yeah. Pay by numbers.
Yeah, pay by the numbers.
Fly in the sky and do this.
Right. It became that. Yeah. Loki dared to be different. That's why I respect it.
For sure. Yeah. All right. So, what were we gonna say? I'm sorry, Q. Were you gonna say something else?
Oh no. I was just agreeing with Rashad. Like, yeah, I think Loki is actually the most different series from the MCU here. I think this is my favorite from the three. You know, Winter Soldier, Captain America: Winter Soldier was a little too weird buddy cop that didn't quite work all the way. You know what I'm saying? And some of the action was hit and miss there. WandaVision dared to be different, though. You know what I'm saying? They brought that production value. Like, the shit they did, they haven't been done in probably, like, close to 70 years. Like, how can you bring that back? That's why it's nominated for so many Emmys. You know what I'm saying? Because the production value and the things they did, it was very, very different. But I think Loki, as a concept, is completely different from an MCU. It's not even almost a comic book thing. Like, somebody was asking me, like, how do you explain it? What do you compare Loki to from the MCU? Like, I can't really compare it to anything because it's kind of everywhere and it stands on its own. So it's like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, it's its own thing. And I'm very, very, very intrigued with Loki. In season 2, I'm there day one because I want to see how this whole thing plays out. We just got the first pawn or a chess piece right here. So, like, I think Loki's playing chess, Queen Gambit. So Loki's there. You're gonna be seeing Loki for a while, and I think you're gonna see this villain here that we got introduced in the next episode for a little bit. So it's a chess game right now with Marvel. And I like this chess game that Loki did. It's a chess game. Yeah. Captain and Winter Soldier, I know it's coming. It's gonna be Captain America 4. That WandaVision is done. We got Scarlet Witch now. Cool, I get it. But I don't know where Loki can go. You know what I'm saying? It can go a bunch of different ways.
Well, one thing I want to mention moving into the final episode. The final episode is called For All Time Always, and ultimately this may be a hot take. I want to make it abundantly clear. I love the whole show. It's my favorite of all of the MCU shows. And when it comes to this final episode, I love the stuff that it implies for the future of the MCU, the huge implications for what's going to change, what's to come, the multiverse. I mean, crazy that we're at this time. We were talking about that earlier. It's amazing. But this is probably my second least favorite episode. My least favorite being a Nexus event, that one that we said is just kind of a forgettable one, episode 4. And I think ultimately for me, I was just expecting, I was hoping a little bit more. It was just such an expository episode. And as somebody who already gets the multiverse idea, who's read the comics and watches the DC stuff that touches on that shit all the time, it just felt like let's stop everything and explain this to everybody. Now, before we get into my thoughts on this episode as far as what actually took place, one thing that I thought to myself, and you were like, what are we going to see with Loki moving forward? One thing that older Loki said to him, the classic Loki, Richard E. Grant's character, said to him in the last episode was the way that he escaped and the way that he survived was that he used a body double to save himself against Thanos. And so a part of me kept thinking to myself, I feel like they're going to bring Loki back into the MCU by maybe whenever he's done with the TVA, maybe inserting him back into the timeline somewhere close to the events of Infinity War, where he can do that body double thing, kind of recontextualize it, where we thought he's dead, but in terms he's actually alive. I just feel I feel like Richard E. Grant's Loki didn't say that for no reason. At least that's what I think. It just seems too obvious that he gave him a literal answer, and he's the only Loki who survived. Because he even said it. He goes, how are you old, or aren't we supposed to die? He's like, I use this, body double. They kind of breezed over it, but I just can't help but think that they're going to play on that later on. Maybe they won't. But that would be dope, man. Listen to the OG. Yeah, exactly. Like do something cool, something different like that, and be able to recontextualize things as Marvel has done really well in the past. But yeah, at the end of the 5th episode, Journey into Mystery, they ended up enchanting Eliath, opening this portal where we see some sort of citadel inside of what looks like a ball of time and space itself. When they approach this building, it is just like a creepy, like castle kind of thing. They walk inside. Great set design, again, great CGI to kind of enhance these scenes. The lighting is great, the costume design, the performances. And they get in there, and there's like a bit of a creepy moment with Miss Minutes, the little clock lady. She comes up like a little bit like sinister, like looking like a little fucked up. Her eyes are a little janked up. And not too long into that, we are introduced to Jonathan Majors, and instantly I sat up. I was into what was happening. My fiance, she doesn't know who Jonathan Majors is. She doesn't know. So instantly he pops up and I go, oh my God. And she goes, what? And so I pause real quick and go, so just, I don't know if this is going to be him or not, but they cast this guy, Jonathan Majors, as Kang the Conqueror for the upcoming Ant-Man and the Wasp. And he's like a big deal in the comics. And then we just kept going on. And so, we learned that this is essentially a variant of Kang. He's very powerful in this episode in the sense that, he can't be hit. He has pretty much everything written out. He knows what's going to happen up to a certain point in the episode where he actually does reveal that up to that point, he does not know what's going to happen anymore. And 95% of the episode really is just them sitting in one room as he explains, all about the multiverse and the fact that there are a bunch of versions of himself, about this multiversal war, and the fact that there are way worse versions of himself, and he took it upon himself to keep things in line, keep things in order to avoid another multiversal war, and gives Sylvie and Loki the opportunity to either kill him, like you mentioned earlier, Q, and this will kind of cause like mayhem, or to take over his position and rule everything, keeping everything in line. And so there's this, great back and forth with Loki and Sylvie, where Loki is pretty much just like maybe we should do this. And so then Sylvie starts to think, but mind you, I should also mention before they start arguing, Loki and Sylvie share a kiss. Either you're gonna like that or you're not gonna like that. They end up getting kind of exactly. They kind of end up being at odds in the episode because Sylvie thinks that Loki just wants to rule, like this is his opportunity to rule, whereas he's just saying like no, like this is maybe the best thing to do. Like, did you listen to what he said? Whereas she's so hell bent on revenge that she just wants to kill this dude. So ultimately, Loki ends up getting sent back to the TVA by Sylvie when she gets her hands on Kang's time pad, kicks him back to the TVA. When he arrives there, Owen Wilson and the other character, Hunter B-15, do not know who he is, so they don't even remember who he is. And the timeline is going crazy. There's tons of branches. And so we know that Sylvie probably did indeed kill Kang, which is going to lead us into Kang the Conqueror returning or showing up. Because at the very end, we see Loki actually look at a statue that's there. And it is Jonathan Majors. And the outfit that he's wearing is a far more traditional. It's a stone statue, obviously, but it is a far more traditional Kang the Conqueror outfit from the comics. So we know the big bad is indeed coming. And it was just nice to get that little taste of him, a different version of him, because Jonathan Majors, great actor, he's really, really great in the role. I like the comparison you gave earlier, Q, of him kind of being almost like a Joker kind of thing, where just the way his mannerisms, his movements, the laughter, the smile, the way he'd look at things, there was something super energetic about his performance that was definitely really engaging and fun to watch. And you mentioned earlier, Rashad, about Loki not being able to be trusted, and I love there's this great line when he's trying to convince Sylvie that maybe this is the best thing to do for for the world, for the universe. He tells her, he goes, you can't trust, and I'm not to be trusted. And they're kind of like at an impasse there, where like he wants to be trusted, but he just can't be trusted because of who he is, and she wants to trust him, but ultimately she doesn't trust him because of who she is. And I just really, really, really liked the way that all happened. The episode was just so dialogue heavy. You have Owen Wilson, dealing with stuff, Mobius dealing with stuff with Ravonna Renslayer, the judge. He's going to go prune her at one point. Then she has the upper hand to maybe prune him. She doesn't. They both want to get, kind of find out answers on what's happening. But yeah, I was pretty surprised that when Loki returns back to the TVA, that Owen Wilson and them don't remember him. That part left me confused. I have no idea what the reasoning for that is. But yeah, ultimately, that's obviously the general gist of everything that happened in the episode. I liked it a lot. I love this series. I think it's my favorite of all the MCU shows thus far. As a finale, I feel like it just didn't have that sense of finality that I was really hoping for, really wanted. But I loved what it kind of set up for the future of the MCU. So really quickly, though, I'm going to put up my volume so I can hear you. I'm going to run over there real quick and take a piss. But starting, and I'll be right back. But starting with Q this time, what did you think of this final episode, man?
Oh, yeah. I have to just give a big shout out to Jonathan Majors. Like I said, he was my favorite thing. I could not keep my eyes off of Jonathan Major every time he was on the screen. After we got introduced to him, I don't know, he was so comfortable with this role of being like Kang the Conqueror. Like he has been there forever, and it literally felt like that. Like, okay, this dude, we don't really know. This is the first time we're introduced to this dude, but like, I want to see more of him, and actually explained about his plot, like what was going on, what I'm saying, with the timekeepers and how that was all BS and how he had been this and how they explained the whole thing from science. And he's just he's just a man, right? He's just a man. So, but he knows the whole ending of time, right? Like, and to a certain point where he wanted to quit. He just wanted to quit. He could have did it for eternity, right? He could have just kept doing it, but he had been there for so long. Like, okay, I'm gonna give these Lokis everything they want. You can run it. You can run it how you want. I'm gonna retire, but what I'm saying, you can either kill me or like you guys can have it. So like, of course, they end up killing him, but like his performance was so exciting because every move they made. What I'm saying? I think it was at one point in the scene, like, I know everything is going to happen till up to here. And then he didn't know what was going to happen right there. And then he was like this. So what's it going to be? What's it going to be? You know what I'm saying? You're going to kill, you'll kill me? Or if you kill me, I'll see you soon. You know what I'm saying? I think he gave a wink when he actually got killed. And I fucking loved it. I have not seen a villain that captivating in years. I don't know what it was. It was just the introduction of him. I think that's why I really like this episode, because we got the whole plot synopsis wrapped up in the bow. We didn't get a Super Saiyan level event at Captain Marvel fight in the sky, but I don't think we needed that. I think we needed this introduction. This is Phase 4 introduction. I don't know what Black Widow did. Cool. I'm cool with it, but it wasn't really an introduction to Phase 4. This is, because this got so many freaking branches. Like, we're multiverse of madness. We're Spider-Man, No Way Home. You know what I'm saying? It's so much going on with this. You know what I'm saying? We're Loki season 2. We're Ant-Man, whatever. Kang the Conqueror is going to be here for at least 2 to 3 movies, I think. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know, because he's so good. And I think he's going to shine even more. We only got, you know what I'm saying, that episode of it. But it introduces a villain. My God, the MCU need a good villain. They do. Taskmaster just wasn't it. I liked him. He was cool. He wasn't Kang the Conqueror. He wasn't Thanos. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't Killmonger. We need a good villain. I think this dude will set it up, because we need we need stakes in the MCU, I think. And this dude, I think, is going to have awesome stakes. We haven't seen this other variant. You know what I'm saying? Rashid said, like, oh, you mean this variant?
Yeah. You're not gonna let that go, are you? You're not gonna let that go.
No, it was just a statue. So like, oh, okay, cool. So yeah, I think this calls stakes for the MCU. This is the real introduction to Phase 4. That's what has me excited about this episode. It's not a super finale with a rapping bowl, but I think it's moving the shit forward. Thank you for moving it forward. Not Black Widow going back, which is cool. You know what I'm saying? But this is kind of moving shit forward in a bunch of different branches. What I really, which I'm really excited for. You brought me Doctor Doom. You know what I'm saying? I've been excited
bring
too.
Dr. Doom. Yeah. Dr. Doom. Yeah.
Whenever we build up to Doctor Doom, that's going to be next level. Like, and I feel like at this point, Marvel knows that something like Doctor Doom has to be done really like right. If you're going to do them like comic book accurate, like, or at least something like that.
I think this guy was done right. I don't know shit about Kang the Conqueror. I didn't read the comic books about this guy. I don't know about him, but I know that performance that scene with Jonathan Major and that scene, the power that it can have. Now we got different variants going out everywhere. So like I don't know what to expect. That's what has me excited. That's all I'm saying. That's why I really love this episode. I couldn't keep my eyes off the screen when I seen him. I was like, I cannot stop looking at this guy. I don't know what's going on with it, but I you know what I'm saying, I just really enjoy this character. Maybe I'm just a villain guy, huh?
Is that him?
Oh yeah, that's him right there. Okay. Yeah, that's my boy. Maybe I'm just a villain guy. I don't know. I just really dug that character, and I want to see what's gonna happen with it. So I really enjoyed this season finale. Out of all of them, out of all the barber shows, this was my favorite season finale. This is me though. You know what I'm saying?
I think my favorite of the season finales so far for the Disney Plus shows is probably got to be
The Winter Soldier.
Yeah, Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I think Falcon and the Winter Soldier, just like left me just hyped as fuck for what was to come. Just like the way that he rolls in that suit. But yeah, ultimately what this sets up, this is the most impactful for the MCU overall in terms of a finale. And what this sets up for the future, it's just next level. You know what I mean? So Rashad, let's hear your thoughts on this final episode, man.
Yeah, the final episode, once again, not in love with, but yeah, Jonathan Majors is a rock star. This guy is a star. I'm happy for him because I've been following him now for the past few years. First thing I seen him in was Last Black Man in San Francisco.
Yeah, he was fucking fire in that, bro. Whew.
Yeah, and he was also in the Five Bloods. He was Delroy Lindo's son of the Five Bloods, Lovecraft Country. So yeah, I'm gonna follow his career for a minute, man. The guy's a great fucking actor, so it's good now that he's finally getting his flowers where people get to see his range of what he can really do. And I was surprised because I thought I seen his best work in Lovecraft Country. So this performance, I was not expecting that. I wasn't expecting that to come out of him. Like he's on some De Niro, Pacino, Denzel level. Like there's levels to this shit. He's like on that level of acting. Because like Q said, when he's performing, you can't take your eyes off the screen. Like this guy's great, And even though it's dialogue heavy, I didn't mind it because he was just delivering, his performance was just so captivating where you just wanted to keep watching it. But as a finale, but the possibilities that it sets up for it does have me excited. My fear, though, is that with all these different branches and all this, I hope it doesn't do like you said, like with the CW, where it just goes way too out there. Like this show is already out there. If it goes way more out there than this to the 20th fucking power, my brain might explode. Like you're gonna be like, hey Rashad, man, we're gonna do a live stream on Loki season 2. I'm gonna be like, I ain't gonna know shit.
I thought it was almost like that with this one. I was like, oh shit, like the episode I said I didn't like oh shit, I actually like that one.
Yeah. Like, dude, there was so many times in this show where that look that Homer Simpson has, where you try to explain something to him, he just has that look like that was me, But as a finale though, definitely dope, man. It definitely excited for what's to come, and I'm looking forward to what he's gonna bring to King the Conqueror because he's gonna play it different than what we've seen. So this performance we've seen here with this particular variant, we're probably not gonna see for a while, but he's gonna be totally different as King, and I think he's gonna knock it out the park, man. And as far as the MCU villain problem, they have so many great villains. There's no excuse why they have a villain problem. They have Dr. Doom. You got Galactus. You know what I'm saying? Namor, the Submariner, who was a villain at one time. Magneto, Apocalypse. You know what I'm saying? Marvel's got some killer fucking villains, man.
And even the smaller ones. I think it just comes down to I think at first, and I think a lot of it has to do with like those early era comic book movies. It was about like creating a one-off, So like the villain had to be defeated by the end of the movie for things to feel like it was moving on. I think that they've done a good job with characters like Loki and Thanos, and as they're slowly starting to kind of dip their toes into more as long as they stop killing these characters at the end and find a way to send them off in a different direction, I think it's for the best. No, sorry, what were we gonna say?
But I was gonna say that the thing that I want to see, which I don't think we're gonna get because Thanos is now dead, unless they do the timeline shit and bring him back. I want to see so bad, like in Secret Wars, where he's God Doom. He's not Doctor Doom. He's God Doom. And okay, the way it plays out, Thanos steps to him like, "Yo, what's up?" And Doom is like, "What's up?" And Thanos is like, "Let's do this." So Doom was like, "Are you sure you want to do this? I'm a god." "Yeah, what's up?" Rips into his chest. Grabs his spine and rips that shit out like the Predator. You see the skull and everything.
Yeah.
Thanos' flesh drops like jelly. The most illest shit I've ever seen in a comic book.
Damn, I don't remember that. I don't
know that we'll ever see that in the movies, but
not on Disney. Oh heck no! But yeah, that's dope.
But that just goes to show how powerful Doom becomes. He becomes a god where he can manipulate matter and create his own reality. That's how powerful he became in Secret Wars.
Yeah, so I mean, whenever they do him again, man, just based on the Fantastic Four movies we've gotten with him in it, they'll have to really try to make him they have to make him the all-powerful badass that he truly becomes, because he is one of the most powerful villains in the series. I really do hope that when they do pull him in, that they give him his due justice and stop killing off the villains. Kill off some of them here and there. Maybe kill him off after a couple movies. But I like what they've done. Even if you do something like you did with Spider-Man: Homecoming, we know that Michael Keaton's Vulture is in prison. You know what I mean? Like, where if you need to utilize his character again for, Sinister Six or whatever the case may be, you can, instead of just like killing these characters off where it's like, okay, well, there's no return for that guy. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's just no way you're bringing back that guy. Now, some of them, it was like, okay, cool. Like, good riddance. Like, we didn't need you to stick around. But some of them could have stuck around, and it kind of just leads for forgettable villains, Whiplash and Malekith and these other characters that are like popular from the comics, but they're just thrown to trash in the movies. Really quick before I get too far away from this, we got a comment from my buddy Seek, who I had on for Mortal Kombat spoiler discussion. He goes, "Well, I think the Disney Plus show set up the Young Avengers and Black Widow sets up the Thunderbolts," which, yes, I was super hyped on to see a bit more after Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Love seeing Immortus and can't wait for his Kang. So I'm guessing Immortus is the name of the character specifically that we saw in this episode. Jonathan Majors play. I honestly didn't know what the name of his character was in this movie or in this episode. But yeah, Disney Plus shows have been setting up Young Avengers. They have other ones that are coming down the line. And then Black Widow with that post-credit scene. This isn't a Black Widow one, so I know we'll stay away from spoilers. But they're setting up the Thunderbolts to come, which they started with Falcon and the Winter Soldier. The Thunderbolts, for anybody who aren't aware, are like another group, kind of like an anti-hero Avengers-esque kind of underground team that has had like Taskmaster on the team, and John Walker, I believe, has been on the team before, which is what they're kind of setting up. Yelena looks like she's going to be part of it from Black Widow. So
they were created by what's his name, Thunderbolt Ross. What's his name?
Thunderbolt Ross. Yeah, General Ross. Yeah.
Red Hulk. Eventually, maybe they'll show that. Yeah.
Let me see. So I got. What is going on? Okay, well. What in the hell is going on?
Yo, can you like block that guy, man? Whoever Sussy Balls is, man, he's definitely trolling, man.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, whatever. We're almost done with this, but he's over here talking about his dad beating him and stuff, and I don't know.
What?
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, take that whooping like a man, boy. Take it like a man.
Oh God.
Shit.
Yeah.
You're not daddy. My dad jumped at me before, man. Just take it. Shit, that's your daddy.
I'm dead. All right. Well, this shit went off the rails as usual. But all right, real quick. Thank you guys so much for watching as usual. Genuinely, I think we all pretty much can say that we enjoyed the show Loki. It had its ups and downs for all of us at different points, but ultimately, I think we're all excited for where this goes moving forward. Oh, look, I have Seek in here really quickly says that the Thunderbolts were created by Baron Zemo, which I know he's part of it. Y'all got to read the original Kurt Busiek run, classic and so good. Yeah, I definitely have to revisit that because I know of the Thunderbolts. I've seen like comic books and read comic books where they're already a team, but I don't think I've ever read the original Thunderbolts stuff. So thank you for the information, Seek. I know Seek is like he's like the comic book guy. For anybody who's not subscribed to Seek, pop it up here on the screen real quick. Seek and Destroy. He's got tons of great content over on his channel where he talks about specifically Venom stuff. He's really into to Venom stuff. We also have News to Astonish in here. My buddy Ronnie, who I had on for Guardians of the Galaxy recently, he says that he's Nathaniel Richards, a descendant of Reed Richards, aka Mr. Fantastic from the Fantastic Four. What's it called? Another great channel for comic book related stuff if you guys are interested in that. But today I am very happy to be joined again by Q Reviews and Rashad. So please, guys, the link to their channels are down below in the description box. Go give them some love. Let them know I sent you. They do tons of great movie related stuff over there on their channel. And I'm going to assume a lot of you guys who are watching know who they are because they're here on the channel pretty frequently. For Q and Rashad, do you guys have any final thoughts on the show? Any final thoughts? Anything you want to plug here that you got coming out on your channel? Anything that people should look out for?
No, man, it was actually great. This was like, being back, back with the fam again. Anthony, thank you so much for having me here again, though. Like, honestly, like it's just so much fun to talk about this stuff. You know what I'm saying? I might not have that deep lore like some of these people know, like the exact media, the Thunderbolts. I don't know nothing about that. I don't even know nothing about Kang. I just know what I've seen today, and I'm really excited for the MCU, and I'm really excited to talk about this stuff anytime. If you ever want to talk about anything, man, just hit me up. Rashad G, and thank you so much. Don't want to really plug anything. If y'all want to check out Q Reviews, the link is in the description below. But thanks so much, man. It's so much fun to rack it out like this, son.
For sure. What about you, Rashad?
Yeah, man. Yeah, this has been fun. The show overall, man. If I give it a grade, give it the Rashad G Reviews grade. I give it a solid C. I mean, not crazy about it, but didn't dislike it. But I think I give it a C. It was straight. It was all right. So nothing else I want to add about the show. But as far as what I got coming up, I got Space Jam coming up Friday, and Q, I know you're about to post a review for that. You did post your review, right, Q?
No. Yeah, I was editing before I came. Before I came.
Yeah, so I'm gonna be posting that Friday after I watch it. Me and my son are gonna watch it, so he might join me in the review if I can get him to calm down because he's 5 and he has ants in his pants and he needs to dance. So I got that coming up, and then I'm also gonna be reviewing the last Fear Street movie. And Perez, I'm glad with you. I got to review Batman, the Lego Batman movie. I got to get to that. Yeah. And so far that's all I have on the horizon for right now.
Nice.
So check me out, man. Rashad G Reviews. I talk movies, I cook sometimes, and I talk some politics. I'm not much of a politician, but I get into it a little bit sometimes.
Yeah, a little bit.
Skits every now and then.
Rashad got that side to him. If you guys are looking for, if you're looking for movie related content and funny skits and stuff like that, go check out Q Reviews. If you want a mix of movie related content, dinner in a movie, and all these other fun things, and plenty of political satire and commentary, Rashad G Reviews is your guy. He does not hold back at all, and I love that about you and your channel, bro. But a big thanks to both of my guests for joining me. Genuinely happy. As for what you guys can look out for on my channel, I don't know if I'm going to see it tomorrow. I currently have tickets. I'm currently in the process of moving. I move next week, so I have a lot of packing to do tomorrow. I have a day off. But I may be going to see the new Nicolas Cage film Pig, which is essentially like a John Wick kind of movie, from what I understand, with a guy from the wilderness whose pig is stolen from him, and it's played by Nicolas Cage, and he goes on a murderous rampage. That's all I really know. It could either be the greatest thing or the worst thing ever.
That sounds great. That has to be awesome, man. That sounds fucking spectacular.
Why would you steal his pig?
Yeah, I definitely want to. I don't know why they steal his pig, but I'm very, very much curious about that movie. If I don't see that tomorrow, the next video on my channel outside of this one will be Bad Batch episode 12, 13. I can't remember right now what episode we're on, but the next episode of Bad Batch drops on Friday morning. Going to be dropping that review. Also, Space Jam. I'll be dropping that review on Friday as well. And then Sunday, I have a review for Pirates of the Caribbean 2, Dead Man's Chest, dropping with my buddy Mike for the Z review. And then on Monday, Underdog movie review dropping with Jacob Martin. And yeah, got tons of collabs coming out in terms of the guys that are here on the screen right now. Like Rashad mentioned, he'll be on the channel next time for Lego Batman, and I'll be over on his channel next time for Black Belt Jones, which I haven't gotten around to checking out yet, but it's coming soon. And then Q Reviews, I've invited him onto the channel to join me for the classic 1941 Wolfman. So that should be an interesting one. So yeah, a big thanks to you guys for watching. Again, any final words on your guys' end?
I'm good.
No,
that's it, and that's
I'm
all.
good, man. Thank you. That's all, folks. Thanks a lot for having me, man.
Absolutely. All right, guys, have a great night. Thank you, everybody, for watching. And if you're watching this live or after the fact, I genuinely appreciate it. Hit that like button, comment your thoughts. Go give these two some love, and we'll see you guys in the next one. All right, bye-bye.
Peace.